And both parents knew about it. And nobody so somebody just walks out to go to work and like, oh, my car's.
Welcome to another episode of Careful Boys. Today we get to talk about what is something shady that your parents taught you.
Taught me? Oh, I don't know if they specifically taught me, but...
Or passed on to you. What's something you picked up from
Dude, my dad was burning CDs before anyone was burning CDs.
That's the craziest thing to hear, dude.
Yeah.
What do you mean, like he was a trendsetter?
He was burning like albums and like that, and he would put them in jewel cases, and he would sell that shit on like in the paper.
He sold them?
Yeah.
Oh, so he's making money off of that.
Yeah. My dad was one of the
That's
first people doing that.
tight.
We used to have a room in the basement where we weren't allowed to go in because if we even touched the computer, it could because back then it would take like 7 hours to like burn a disc.
Yeah. Right.
He was doing that. It was crazy.
My ex-girlfriend's father got busted by the FBI for having a CD burning operation.
What?
Was he doing like hundreds of thousands of dollars?
He had a factory, and what wasn't a factory? It was
Doing
like a warehouse.
volume.
Yeah, and it was like hella computers.
Was this distribution the freaking Chinatown?
Was he doing like bootleg movies
yeah,
kind of thing?
It was like bootleg shit, like just nonstop, just
so
mad
it wasn't like mixtape CDs. It was like whole movies.
Now that's what I call music 3.
Yeah.
The government cared about that?
Back then they
At that
told.
time.
Bro,
For sure.
with every movie when you the first thing there's an FBI warning.
Yeah.
Like how crazy is that? FBI. Dude.
Guess who fast forwarded through that? My grandpa did. Because my grandpa was burning this every single movie. We used to call it Miller Buster, which was his house. Like
Sounds wild.
Because he would burn every single DVD. Well, first he started with VHS tapes. And then he'd burn every single DVD. And then he got the Blu-rays and all that shit.
That's so.
Do you guys
crazy,
still have
dude.
CD players?
No.
My PlayStation 5 has a disc reader, but it's not like you barely use it.
So if we have like old CDs or DVDs, like how do we play them?
Put them in a CD drive.
They still- do they still have it?
Your desktop computer doesn't have a CD drive?
I don't have a desktop. I just have a
Oh,
laptop.
okay.
Oh yeah, you're a Mac guy too.
Yeah.
You probably got to use a dongle and fucking hook it up to some.
8 dongles.
Yeah. Ugh.
Wait, why don't you just look it up on YouTube? Because it's probably somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah, look up your own home video on YouTube. It's probably someone else probably.
Just look the CD up on YouTube.
Yeah, look the CD up.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube.
How about videotapes? Do they have videotape players that can transfer it into files?
Yeah. I have one of those.
Okay.
Whole company, yeah.
Yeah.
You can for $22 you can get one on Amazon that USB plugs into your MacBook.
You're gonna need that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about
you should
videotape?
do them if you have old tapes. You should definitely do them because they do great over time. You might play it one day. And
really?
yeah.
It's like papyrus paper?
Yeah.
Damn.
You might be keeping it in a box, and then when you play it, it just doesn't play anymore. It's like really.
When I was a kid, I had a VHS tape, and my grandpa drew a Batman symbol on it, and that was like my Batman. How I watched Batman 1989. Like I would put that tape in there. Well, I'll never forget that because we never owned the real shit. We always owned like my grandpa's label and then his handwriting on everything.
You mean your entire Michael Keaton Batman experience was off of a ripped?
Well, I saw the
VHS?
movie in theaters with my parents, but then when I wanted to rewatch it, it was always my grandpa's ripped shit. Always. I didn't really own anything other than my grandpa's ripped shit. We had like the Disney
That's
movies
dope,
and
though.
those.
That means you also still had an abundance of things.
Oh, we had so much fucking.
Then everybody was going to you for movies.
Oh yeah, we called it Miller Buster, and it was
Still sounds
definitely
crazy.
could have been a legal issue.
Yeah.
But you kept it in the family.
We did,
so-
but he had thousands.
But to have an ad in the paper for it is pretty.
My dad did that with the jewel things back in.
Even that's pretty freaking big to do that.
Yeah.
I remember the Jewel freaking CD cases was a hit when it came out because they weren't all thick and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like they were like
Yeah,
really,
thin
really
boys.
thin.
Yeah.
And that changed the game because you would just have stacks of CDs.
Hey, do you guys ever watch that time traveler that talks like this? He's like a black dude, and he's a time traveler from 2005, and he still dresses like Nelly and shit. And then he like burns CDs and he tries to sell his rap music. It's fucking hilarious.
Were you
He did
watching
a video-
public access or some shit?
No, it's on Instagram, but he goes around and he goes to like Blockbuster. There's still
Oh,
a
I know that
Blockbuster.
he like wears like Timberlands and like that dude.
Yeah, and he walks it out.
But then like people are like they're tripping because they're like, how are your Tims brand new? Like he has like old shit that's brand new.
Because he's a
looking.
time traveler from 2005.
I didn't know that was the bit. I thought he was just making funny videos.
What it do, baby? This the time traveler from the year 2005. I'm gonna wait for my phone right now because I'm probably out time traveling or something. But in the meantime, make sure y'all leave a message. And when I get back, I'll holler at you. Word up.
A bit. He's a time traveler.
You guys remember Reverend X?
Yeah, yeah. The guy was cussing.
That guy who's yelling at people? He's like, you gotta get with God, you piece of shit. He's like,
He had a public access.
yeah, he had a public access show. He's like fucking screaming at people, just like swearing.
Oh, is it the black dude?
He's
with
like
the
the cussing preacher. The cussing preacher.
And he's like yelling at everybody. It was the best show ever.
Dude, he's a legend.
Legend forever. Wow. Yeah, Reverend X, dude.
Should we be watching these things so people get the reference?
Yeah, let's watch it.
Next caller, me. I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. Your thoughts ain't my thoughts. Bitch, I'm flowing straight from the survival scroll. Cut that bitch off. Next caller.
They could YouTube it or buy a disc reader and find the reference.
Yeah, they could get a disc reader.
Did your dad know a bunch of shady shit, being like a freaking scout leader?
I don't think scouts taught him shady shit. I think there was any shady shit. It was
Or did he go like, check it out, people will bring a shirt that they want cleaned. I don't even clean that shit. Like that.
Oh, he's a bad kid.
no.
Fucking dry cleaner, dude. You know what I do with this? I fold it nicely and give it back to them.
The first most innocent thing that like my parents taught me was like movie hopping.
That's what I did.
Wow, you guys are crazy.
But the thing is, it would be like a Sunday, so you'd watch like
3,
to 4
4.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like
Wait, they would be there with you, or is it like
they would-
daycare? Like go
Plan it out. No.
they would be there. They would be the
that's
ones walking us.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, go to the bathroom right now. We're going to the bathroom, and then we walk into this other spot.
Damn.
Then, hey, call for your dad. Just random shit like that.
Whoa.
But it's
We
like,
had too much Christian
That's
guilt.
so cool.
Those are bad kids, man.
I couldn't go.
I know that seems really innocent, but I also feel like that butterfly effects into just like a changing of your perspective of like rules in general.
I was too good at teachers for that shit. I would have never done that.
I think the first movie I saw was Titanic, and then I saw titties, and I was like, wow, this is why it's a sin to go to the movie theater.
Titanic's a very sinful movie.
But dude, it takes forever for those titties to come up.
But
That was the worst movie like that.
But when you see things on a big screen, everything looks crazy.
Yeah.
And then the titty was massive. But in real life, it's not.
And then when you got the 2 VHS set, you always had to fast forward to the end of VHS tape 1.
That's so funny.
Crazy.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't know the VHS. I saw it at the theater.
Yeah, they had tape 1 and 2.
That's crazy. It couldn't go on one tape.
Couldn't go on one tape.
Too long.
It was a fucking 2 tape set.
Damn.
Pre DVDs.
Parents teaching you shady stuff. You probably got something like that.
No, 'cause
How about this?
my parents rarely talk to me. I don't remember them talking to me.
Didn't your
What did you
parents
pick
teach
up
you how
on
to
them?
swear and shit like that? Like on accident?
No. My dad was always busy. My mom just cooked. They just left us, pretty much.
They didn't talk to you?
I don't remember them ever talking really too much when I was younger.
Is that why you make noises to communicate?
That's why I try to be loud,
Yeah. That makes sense.
to break my silence when I was little.
They didn't trust him. They're like,
Oh, the only thing bad I really picked up was smoking cigarettes.
That's pretty bad. Yeah.
Cause I remember I opened the door and then I think it was my mom or my dad smoking and I was just like, oh, what the hell is that? It's like, hey, you have to close the door. I was like, all right, shit, my bad. And then I remember going in the bathroom after grabbing their old cigarettes and then smoking it at the park. But that was it. I don't remember ever them just chatting or anything.
You know, I felt was one of the worst things that I ever saw my mom do. So we had like sponsored my auntie to come over from Vietnam. So then when my auntie came over, she was living at our house for a while. So my mom had to like just over time, teach her things. And then I also was kind of like low-key bitter as a kid because my auntie got my room. And then I would just have to either like bunk with my sister or sleep downstairs, right, all the time. So I was just like, whatever, right? Anyways, there was a time where my mom was trying to teach my auntie how to drive. And so it would just be an ongoing thing because, there's multiple sessions and stuff. One time my dad had like a late night meeting some Boy Scout stuff out in like the Westminster area, and then we're in my parents' Ford Aerostar or whatever, and it's me, my mom, and my auntie. We're just waiting for him. So then my mom's like, hey, do you want to like practice driving or whatever? So then they switch seats. My auntie gets in the car and she's just kind of trying to drive around the parking lot. And then for whatever reason, I'm a kid, I don't know what's going on. She kind of loses control. Doesn't, you know when you like are learning how to drive, you get, I don't know, shock or whatever, and you don't put your foot on the right pedal. And like she's trying to brake, gas it instead. Ends up just ramming into this parked car. Right? Ramming into this parked car. I'm just, what the heck? And then from that moment, Auntie freaks out. My mom tells her to get out the car. She's getting out the car and trying to just like walk away from the situation. My mom jumps in the driver's seat and then drives away from the situation. And then we just park like on the other side of the lot. And there's just this car.
No fucking way, dude. That's messed up.
Your parents are fucking trash, brother.
It's just my mom. Just my mom.
Damn.
Fucking hidden raw ass.
It's funnier because it's an Asian driver.
I vividly remember my dad. Coming out of this thing, and then my mom had to we had to like walk over to where he was dropped off because he's probably coming out like, where the fuck's the car? And then he walks out. He walks out, and then my mom quickly puts her hand around his shoulder, and he's like, oh, I have to tell you something. And I'm like walking behind them.
Trying to teach her how to drive, and she smashed him.
And then I just realized the moment that she confesses what had happened.
Yeah, I did.
And you just see his knees buckle, and he's just like, oh. He's just so.
That's so expensive.
Just like dead on the situation. But there was nothing that he could do, so we just had to get in the car that was like a block down and then just drive away.
I like how when this video started, you're like, I don't know, like we ditch movies sometimes.
Yeah, I had to do.
Your parents did a fucking hit and run, dude. And both parents knew about it, and nobody did shit.
Fucking car.
So somebody just walks out to go to work and like, oh fuck, my car's fucked.
I know how that feels because I've had that happen to me. It sucks.
All-time scumbag shit.
He's like, there's nothing you could do. You could have left a fucking note. That's what you're supposed to do. Sorry. Call me. Oh, sorry.
Our hands were tied. Our hands were tied.
They didn't know how to write English, so it wouldn't have mattered.
And you led with the movie hopping thing?
I know.
We were on food stamps during that time.
Hey.
Sympathy.
So was the guy whose car you probably popped up?
You guys live in the same neighborhood.
He probably couldn't have drove his car.
He's in your community.
Hey, you guys blaming me for the sins of my parents?
No,
it's
not
gonna come
blaming-
back at you.
Not blaming
Come
you.
back. It's gonna come
Not
back
blaming
at
you.
That is pretty crazy that they did that knowing that you were aware of like what their actions were. That is a pretty good example.
Yeah, that is.
I was a kid.
Now he's like, if I hit and run, it's chill, dude.
But that never made you want to.
My auntie was with us. I was probably like, this might have been like 1997.
Thank God, because there's no cameras back then.
No cameras back then.
Might be like 11.
No ring doorbells.
Yup.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that is
That's
crazy.
the biggest one.
Damn. Yeah, because
It's not as cool as Miller Buster. I
It's
get
not
it.
as cool as Buster. It's cooler. It's way cooler. Yeah, your parents were fucking rock and roll, dude. Your parents were badasses.
Whole action scene over there.
Your parents are committing fucking felonies and shit.
Low key, honestly, I should bring this up.
You should ask them about it. Yeah.
Hey, remember that felony you guys?
You should see if they even remember it that way.
There's no way they don't remember. I still remember this.
What if they remember it differently?
Oh, it's true.
You know what I mean? If they're just like, oh no, there was barely any damage.
Oh no, that was our car.
That's probably what my mom would say. That's probably what my mom would say. I bet my dad would be like, oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't his fault, you know?
Yeah. Whoosh.
Damn, now that I say it, that was terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. Really bad stuff.
That's pretty bad, yeah.
No, it was just a life lesson. It wasn't terrible.
Just like, what happened to my car? It's fucked.
Oh.
I felt bad. I felt real bad.
And you were how old?
Dude, I was maybe like 11, 10 or 11.
Yeah, see, you can't hide shit from kids when they're that old.
Dude, yeah.
They remember everything.
That awareness is already right there.
What did you guys do around 10 or 11? I don't remember shit.
10 or what grade is that? Like,
It's like
I
fourth
rode
grade,
bikes
fourth grade.
everywhere.
Yeah,
You rode bikes all over.
I was a pretty classic kid at that point, yeah.
bike and play. That's all. Every morning was like, what am I gonna do to play today?
I was like, can't wait to get home from school so I can go outside with my
Yeah.
friends.
My
And my
dad-
favorite subject was recess.
My dad didn't teach me this, but I saw him do it. I thought it was pretty funny. But it was like a thing. He had a road rage hack where like He didn't do it that much. Maybe like twice. Where like my dad was a really bad road rager, and even with our whole family in the car, he would always be like driving like a fucking asshole, and then just getting in fights. And then one time we were really close to our house, and then he was like trying to run this guy off the road. It was just me and my dad. And then the guy pulled over to like get out and fight. And then my dad, he just sat in the seat. And then the guy came up to the window and he was like yelling all this shit. And then my dad he like put his window down and he acted like he couldn't hear him. My dad was like, he was just going like this. And so it made the guy put his face forward and yell louder. And then my dad just clocked him in the face. Damn,
that's hella funny.
He's like gangster. Yeah.
That's sick.
That's so smart.
Because my dad was just like this, like acting old. And going like this.
I don't hear you.
So the guy was like,
closer.
I said, and he like stuck his head in and then got fucking robbed. Yeah. And then my dad put the window up. We left. I was like crying.
Did your dad laugh?
No, he didn't laugh. He didn't laugh. I was like, he knew that it like fucked me up because I was like crying seeing my dad like be an asshole like that. And then so we knelt down in the living room. We got home and we prayed.
Shut up.
So he gets to be a fucking prick. He gets to be the biggest fucking prick ever, punch a guy in the face, and then he's like,
yes,
so sorry,
absolutely.
so sorry.
That's Christianity, dude.
Yeah.
We're in the living room, knelt down, and he like trying to teach me a lesson. He's like,
goes,
we're going to pray now. And then he prays, and he's like, he's like asking for forgiveness for how he acted in front of me and all this shit. And I was like, okay.
I thought he prayed for you to stop being a little bitch.
No, he was like,
Please, please teach people how to fucking merge. Oh, please, just teach people how to fucking merge. Please, Lord.
you gotta ask for
Turn on your signal.
Don't break check the fuck out of me, please.
But I was like, that's a pretty smart thing to like.
is.
Like when someone's coming at you that hard to just act like you're not gonna do shit and you're just kind of
And
like,
just get him in your zone.
He was like, what?
You know what that is?
That's funny as shit.
You know what that is? Tip of the fucking iceberg of who your old man is, dude.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he
That was just one moment in time that you remember him being a scumbag.
Yeah.
Who knows what that guy's capable of? Especially knowing you. Especially knowing you.
That's what I'm scared of, is because every time I talk to relatives and they tell me about my dad, the Philippines version, before he came here, they're like, oh, you don't know. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. I want to know.
we barely know Omicron anyway.
No, nobody knows Omicron.
Yeah.
What if your dad like is a murderer and he fled the Philippines?
Dang.
It's funny because the stories he used to tell me about himself when I was a kid changed over time. He used to tell me stories that sounded really gritty, and then as I got older, I'm like, you said that you did this, and he's like, I didn't say that.
I
was like,
forget.
What the fuck? What are you like? Once I was old enough to like be able to like tell people, then he like cleaned his stories up, and I think he got cleaner too the more Christian he got. So he like,
Or maybe he was just exaggerating things because it's like a fantasy storytelling to a kid.
Yeah.
but he was
Or
like,
maybe he's
even my
just
uncles
learned
would
about
tell me.
gaslighting later.
Him and my whole family would tell me together, and then they all started cleaning up everyone's stories when I got older.
Do you think it's one of those things where they start lying so much that they believe the new lie as the actual
Yeah,
truth?
100%.
I think like when you just get more Christian, you just don't want to act like that's really what you used to do.
So they're not they're not lying on purpose. It's more like they're actually believing a new version of the perspective.
I think it's not a lie. It's more of like, oh, we're not about that anymore, so let's not perpetuate
I see.
what happened.
So let's not glorify the fight that we got into.
Yeah, like my dad
I
doesn't
see.
like talking about being an asshole, like even though he was an
And then
asshole for like
punched him in the face and this, but now it's more like, yeah, we had some
there's
regretful
like
things.
bad situations where I distinctly remember guys getting out of the car yelling at my dad with tears in their eyes, talking about they had their kids in the back, and my dad could have killed them and shit. And my dad was like, I don't give a fuck.
They're like, oh!
Yeah.
Oh, but did you die? You didn't die.
He didn't care. He was
You have kids, so do half of the people in the fucking world, dude.
he would brake check people on the freeway in our family van.
Oh,
and my
shit.
mom would just be hitting him like, stop it.
What a G, dude.
Hey, what an asshole.
What a fucking G, man.
What a 90s dad, though. Seriously.
He's a day ruiner. He's ruined everyone else's day around.
The only thing missing is him smoking cigarettes with the windows up.
Because he was the carpool for my classmates. So all my I had people going to San Gabriel that we all rode together.
That's
and they
fucking wild.
loved riding with my dad.
Why? Because he's yelling all the
Yeah,
time?
they love that
And they're
shit.
like, yeah, fuck yeah.
And they love that if there's a hot girl on the sidewalk,
Yeah.
my dad's breaking his neck.
And then everyone gets to see.
Your dad's almost killing himself.
Oh, but by this
My
time,
dad's on a swivel chair.
but it's high school at this time, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they think
it's so funny, but
yeah,
I'm like,
if
damn.
elementary school be scary.
Yeah, but then the Christianity took over and then he got cleaned up.
Wow. I'm surprised he wasn't already Christian during that time.
He was like half Christian. You know, the one where you're just Christian because your wife's Christian?
Oh.
And then he went full, God mode.
My grandpa grabbed a girl to high school one time and threw her in the trunk.